The Wall Street Journal reports Turkish troops are amassing along the Turkey-Syria border, poised to launch a major military operation against Turkish Kurds. Meanwhile, recent Israeli airstrikes inside Syria suggest an attack against Iranian nuclear facilities may be imminent. Well, joining us to provide his insights is investigative journalist, First Policy Institute senior fellow Ken Timmerman. His most recent book is The Iran House: Tales of Revolution, Persecution, War, and Intrigue. Ken, I want to discuss some of the revelations in your book, but first, what do you make of Erdogan's buildup of military forces along the border, especially in the northeast? Is Turkey about to invade Syria?
It looks like they are, and that would be an absolute disaster for the United States and for the Middle East, for one simple reason. Those Kurds who have been financed by the United States, who are American allies and have been for decades, those Kurds are protecting prison camps where there are an estimated 45,000 to 50,000 ISIS fighters and their families. As of a week ago, the Kurds were saying they were down to half the number of prison guards that they had normally because the Turks were shelling them every day. If this offensive takes place and those ISIS fighters are released, this is going to be an absolute disaster for Syria and for the Middle East and for the Christians of Syria who still remain there.
Well, we could see a reestablishment of the Islamic State and the Caliphate, but on to Israel. They've been conducting regular military operations in Syria ever since the fall of Assad. Are they clearing out air defenses so IDF pilots can have smooth sailing across Syria to Tehran? What are they up to?
Well, we believe that they had already taken out most of Syria's modern air defenses, the S-300 radar in particular, when they attacked Iran, counterstruck Iran in October. And at that point, they did hit one of the nuclear facilities. I think the Israelis are going to wait until Donald Trump is back in office before taking any additional action against Iran. But I could be wrong. You know, Bibi has done really God's work in destroying Syria's navy, in destroying their air force since the fall of Assad. He wants to make sure that dangerous weapons, including chemical weapons stockpiles, don't fall into the hands of Harat Tahrir, the HTS group that now is, we believe, ruling Syria. And I think the Israelis really deserve our thanks for doing that.
And now several of your stunning revelations about Iran in your book, The Iran House. You provide documentation of communication between a Biden administration official and a top Iranian, encouraging the Iranians to attack the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad. Explain more.
This is a really extraordinary story. The first thing is that I was involved in the intelligence gathering that helped President Trump make his decision, which is, I believe, was a very courageous decision to take out Qasem Soleimani, Iran's top terrorist, because I learned through this network of subagents that I was running for the U.S. intelligence community that Soleimani was going to lead an assault on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad. President Trump did not want that to happen. He didn't want to see another Benghazi. He knew how disastrous that was. He ordered, to begin with, 100 U.S. Marines to fly up from Kuwait to protect the embassy, and then he ordered that strike on Qasem Soleimani. Later, I learned from another Iranian subagent that the attack on the U.S. embassy in Baghdad was not just a plan by Iran's Quds Force. It was actually requested in August of 2019, so over a year earlier, by a senior advisor to then candidate Joe Biden. He was in contact with the Iranian foreign minister. They had known each other from the Obama administration, and they had a series of communications which were provided to me by a former very top Iranian military and intelligence official. I have a chronology of those communications in the back of the book, as well as facsimiles of some of the actual communications between the senior Biden advisor and the Iranians. Again, let me emphasize this because it's absolutely extraordinary. It is treasonous. He asked the Iranian regime, will you do the same thing to our embassy in Baghdad that you did to our embassy in Tehran in 1979? Take our diplomats hostage, seize the embassy. You know, the Democrats have been really obsessed with what they called the October surprise ever since the 1980 election. They were hoping to create another October surprise that would prevent Donald Trump from winning re-election in 2020. This one turned out not to be the one that worked. They had other things up their sleeve, but their plan was to get the Iranians to take the U.S. embassy and keep U.S. hostages throughout the 2020 election campaign.
And that would be considered treason against the United States, and that official's still in the Biden administration. So what do you think will happen after the administration exits next month?
Well, I can tell you that Kash Patel at the FBI has access to the same documents that I had access to because my subsource provided them to the FBI, and I corroborated that, and I worked with the FBI to make sure that they had those documents. I hope that he opens an investigation. Obviously, during the Biden administration, they did not want to investigate, and they did not investigate, but I hope that investigation will be launched by Kash Patel.
Okay, many more revelations. The book is The Iran House, Tales of Revolution, Persecution, War, and Intrigue. Ken Timmerman, thank you for taking the time to share your insights with us. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Gary. It's a great pleasure.